On November 26, 2013, Jordan Lynch, the quarterback of the Northern Illinois Huskies, plays a game where he runs the ball for 320 yards, setting the record for the most yards by a quarterback in a single game. And he ended up having one of the most all-around best seasons by a player in college football, finishing third in the Heisman voting at a smaller Division I school. It may have been the greatest season of all time, and we're going to take you back through his season and how this incredible game happened today on Daily Sports History. I'm Ethan Reese, your guide, because the most I've ever ran in my life is for 300 yards. So if you've never heard of Jordan Lynch, that's okay. Honestly, unless you are a big college football fan or you grew up in the Chicago area, you probably have not heard of him. He's often forgot about, as a lot of players from small schools who do amazing things do get forgotten about. But some of the greatest players of all time have come from small schools, such as Jerry Rice or Walter Payton. And Northern Illinois isn't as small of a school as you might think. So Jordan grew up just outside of Chicago, and he attended Mount Carmel High School, which is one of the better high school football teams in the state. And he was a varsity player there for 3 years, running a very run-heavy, wing T type offense. Now, over time, they actually allowed him to pass a little bit more because he was so good at it for the team, but they really relied on his rushing ability. So after he was getting close to the end of his senior season, he really wanted to continue to be a quarterback. And so he went to all the camps he could. Now, if you don't know, in college there are camps across the country. Usually most colleges have a camp, and there's some other like pro style camps that are around for high school kids to come learn, and also they get the chance to showcase who they are in front of some actual college coaches, because as a former college coach, we actually can supplement our income by doing these camps. Some of them pay money, some of them give room and board, some of them just give swag, some of them gives you good connections for continuing your career. So these camps are great things for college coaches to move on in their career, and great for kids to make an impact and a name for themselves in these coaches' minds. So that's what he did. He went to all these different ones, and he went to one at Northern Illinois, and he kept getting the same response. He was barely 6 foot, weighing 200 pounds, which was not what people want as a quarterback. They want someone 6'2", 6'3", 6'4". That's the prototypical size you look for a quarterback. But at smaller D1 schools, they are willing to look differently if that player is really accurate or has intangibles. And he was showing off his intangibles at these camps, catching the eye of smaller Division I schools, especially in the MAC, schools such as Ball State in Northern Illinois. And based off a recommendation from his high school coach, a legend in Chicago, Frank Linty, the coach, Jerry Kill from Northern Illinois, offered a scholarship to Jordan and offered it with the chance of he could play quarterback. If that didn't go well, maybe he would move to running back. In Northern Illinois, although they're part of the MAC, which means they're not a major conference in Division I, they are Division I, which means they give out full scholarships, and they've been around since 1899, being one of the oldest programs in the Midwest, and then they joined the Mid-America Conference in 1973. And over the years, they had gained 8 conference championships. And in 1963, they actually won the College Division National Championship, which is a lower championship than the National Championship. And they have played in 16 bowl games throughout their career, including an upset in 2024 at the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, where they upset Fresno State, winning in double overtime. And they have continuously produced many different athletes that have made it to the NFL or CFL level. So he was coming into a school who was known for having football. They may not have been the best, but it was a good program. And he arrived determined to prove that he could be a quarterback. And he came in, and Chandler Harshness was the starting quarterback. So he came up and backed up to him, learning and building his quarterback skills to go along with his athletic skills. And Lynch waited patiently for his moment to shine. In his first 2 seasons, he was able to get in backup situations and pass for 179 yards and 2 touchdowns. But he was also able to get in there on random plays to rush the ball because he had a great knack for running the ball. And in those first 2 seasons, he ran for over 600 yards and 6 touchdowns. And then in 2012, he became the starting quarterback for the Northern Illinois Huskies. And he went on to revolutionize the game for Northern Illinois, as that first year, he rushed for 1,815 yards, breaking the record for the most rushing yards by a quarterback. He had 3,000 yards, 25 touchdowns, and only 6 interceptions. This was good enough for him to break out and finish 7th in Heisman voting. He came out and blew everyone away. And he was a junior, which meant he was coming back for his senior season. And his senior season did not disappoint because he had the team going undefeated when they came out to Eastern Michigan, fueled by Lynch leading this offense to get the ball in the end zone at any cost. And this night, he would go on to break another record when he rushed for over 316 yards on the ground, scoring 3 touchdowns, breaking the record for the most rushing yards by a quarterback. He would also add in 115 passing yards and a touchdown, becoming the first player also to pass for 100 yards as well as rush for 100 yards in a single game. Now, he brought this team in ranking 14th in the nation. They were undefeated, and at this time, this was still the BCS era. So if you could go undefeated, you had a shot at maybe making it to the national championship or at least a BCS game. So on November 26th, 2013, at DeKalb, Illinois, Husky Stadium, Western Michigan came in to face the undefeated Northern Illinois. And in the first half, Lynch just exploded, finding hole after hole, rushing for 229 yards and 2 touchdowns, including multiple 20-plus runs. He finished the game with just 39 passing yards, but he did throw for 1 touchdown, but on the ground, he ran for 3 touchdowns and 329 yards. Breaks his own record, including a run of 67 yards for a touchdown, showcasing that it wasn't just him bumbling out there. He had speed to go break big plays, and he led the team to an undefeated regular season, 12-0. So they're ranked in the top 10, and they head into the MAC championship game, facing Bowling Green. And unfortunately, Jordan didn't have a great game, and they end up losing this game. And the Huskies go play in the Poinsettia Bowl and lose again. So a perfect regular season, 0-2 in the finals. So it's a down note for Jordan Lynch's career. But he ends up this season with 2,800 passing yards, 24 touchdowns to 8 interceptions, as well as 1,900 rushing yards, breaking his previous record the year before in 23 touchdowns. And this year, he gets invited to New York for the Heisman Trophy ceremony, where he finishes 3rd, but would be voted an first-team All-American as an all-purpose player, which he really was. And unfortunately, his record for the most yards in a single season would be broken in 2019 by Malcolm Perry of Navy, who was the first quarterback to rush for over 2,000 yards in a single season. Then he would go undrafted because he still wanted to be the quarterback, although his skills at quarterback were still a little suspect. His arm's strength and accuracy was always in question, but the Chicago Bears gave him a chance. They gave it to him as a running back. They signed him as an undrafted free agent. He came into training camp but would later be cut. In the following year, he would join the Edmonton Eskimos of the Canadian Football League, and he would go on to score the game-winning touchdown for the Eskimos to win the 2015 Grey Cup. And he played a few seasons up there before retiring in 2017 from professional football and joining Northern Illinois as an assistant coach. Then following that, he would go on to become the head coach of his alma mater, Mount Carmel, where he has led them to 4 state championships in his career, and he still is today. So went from a legend in college football back to being a legend in high school. Just shows you may not end up where you want to be, but sometimes you end up in the right place. I want to thank you for listening to this story. If you enjoyed it, please make sure you share it with a friend. Hit that little square with the arrow button and share it to a buddy. Say, do you remember this guy? Because I don't. And come back tomorrow for more daily sports history.